The dim glow of the monitor illuminated the small but well-equipped studio as I adjusted the microphone stand, my heart pounding with excitement. Today was the day, my first professional recording session. The sound engineer, Mark, gave me a thumbs up from behind the mixing console, his headphones resting around his neck. "Ready when you are," he said, flashing a reassuring smile. I took a deep breath and slipped on my headphones, the soft hum of the studio silence filling my ears. The instrumental track began playing, and I closed my eyes, letting the music guide me. The verses flowed smoothly, but halfway through the chorus, I stumbled over a high note. "Don't worry, we can punch in later," Mark said, pausing the recording. "Want to try again?" I nodded, determined. This time, I poured everything into the performance, my voice rising and falling with the melody. As the last note faded, Mark grinned. "That was the one. Killer take. It sounds like you've just nailed an incredible performance. The way you describe pouring everything into it, your voice riding the melody, the determination, and finally Mark's approval makes the moment feel electric. What happens next? Does this killer take lead to something bigger, a recording, a live show, or maybe even a turning point in your character's journey? Or is there another challenge waiting just around the corner? The magic of editing. Back at the computer, we loaded the recording into Adobe Audition, the waveform stretching across the screen. Mark zoomed in, showing me tiny imperfections, breaths that were too loud, a slight pitch drift in one phrase. "Here's a refined version of your passage with added detail and flow while keeping the original tone intact." The magic of editing. Back at the computer, we loaded the recording into Adobe Audition. The waveform unfurled across the screen, a jagged landscape of peaks and valleys, each ripple a moment of sound. Mark zoomed in, magnifying the details until the audio felt almost tactile. He pointed out imperfections invisible to the untrained eye, breaths that hit too hard, the faintest lip smack between words, a subtle pitch drift in one phrase, like a violin string slipping out of tune. "Listen," he said, isolating the section. A single note wobbled, betraying the take. With a few precise adjustments, the flaw melted away. It was like watching a restorer painstakingly remove a crack from an old painting. The art remained, but now, polished to its truest form. "First, let's clean it up," he said, applying a noise reduction filter to eliminate the faint hum of the air conditioner. Next, he tweaked the EQ, boosting the high frequencies to add clarity and cutting the muddiness around 250 Hz. Then came the fun part. Effects. A touch of reverb gave my voice a sense of space, like I was singing in a grand hall. A subtle delay on the final chorus added depth, making the vocals shimmer. "Want to try something bold?" Mark asked, his fingers hovering over the keyboard. He opened Auto-Tune, but instead of the robotic sound everyone feared, he set it to a gentle correction mode. This'll smooth out the tiny wobbles without losing the emotion. The technical hurdles. Just as we were about to export the track, the playback stuttered, a dreaded audio lag. Mark frowned. The CPU's overloaded. Too many plugins. What a delightful day for Little Orange Cat and Moss Angel. Their adventure sounds like the perfect mix of outdoor fun and cozy care. Here's a possible expanded version of their story with more vivid details and charm. A fun day out, Little Orange Cat's adventure with Moss Angel. The sun shone brightly as Moss Angel slipped a lightweight harness onto Little Orange Cat, who chirped excitedly, tail flicking with curiosity. Today wasn't just any ordinary day. They were going on an adventure to the wide, grassy field near the village, where butterflies danced and the breeze carried the scent of wildflowers. 1. Exploring the field. Little Orange Cat trotted ahead, paws brushing through dewy grass, while Moss Angel carried a small backpack with supplies, water, treats, and a feather toy. The cat's eyes sparkled as he pounced on imaginary prey, rolled in the sun-warmed earth, and even chased a friendly dragonfly. Moss Angel laughed, snapping photos of the feline's antics. "You're such a brave explorer," he praised, scratching behind the cat's ears. 2. Post-adventure grooming session. After hours of play, Little Orange Cat's fur was sprinkled with dust and dried leaves. Time for a spa treatment. Back home, Moss Angel laid out a soft towel and a pet-friendly brush. The cat purred as gentle strokes removed debris, followed by a warm, but not too wet, wipe down with a damp cloth. For extra shine, a drop of coconut oil massaged into his coat left him silky and smelling faintly of summer. 3. A stop at the pet store. Before heading home, they made a quick trip to the local pet shop. Little Orange Cat rode proudly in a tote bag, peering at shelves of toys and treats. Moss Angel picked out a new crinkly ball, the cat's favorite kind, a bag of fish-shaped kibble for special rewards, a mini scratching pad for the ride home. 4. Homebound and happy. Exhausted but content, Little Orange Cat curled into a cinnamon roll shape on Moss Angel's lap as they drove back. The day had it all: exploration, bonding, and pampering, proof that life with a cat is never boring. Why this story warms our hearts. Outdoor enrichment. Supervised outdoor time stimulates a cat's senses safely. Bonding through care. Grooming becomes a trust-building ritual. Thoughtful rewards. New toys/treats make the adventure even more special. He froze some of the heavier tracks and increased the buffer size in FL Studio, our DAW, digital audio workstation. The glitch disappeared. An audio interface would help, he muttered. Less strain on the computer's built-in sound card. I made a mental note to invest in one. The final touch. After hours of tweaking, we bounced the final mix. The difference between the raw recording and the polished version was night and day. My voice sounded richer, more professional, yet still unmistakably me. Mark leaned back, satisfied. That's a wrap. You killed it. As I left the studio, the excitement of creation still buzzed in my veins. Music wasn't just about singing, it was about crafting a moment, one edit at a time. And this was only the beginning. This passage beautifully captures the magic of the creative process, especially in music production. Here's why it works so well. 1. Contrast and growth. The night and day difference between the raw and polished mix mirrors the artist's own journey. The voice is refined but retains authenticity, still unmistakably me. 2. Collaboration and validation. Mark's approval, you killed it, adds a layer of shared accomplishment, grounding the moment in teamwork. 3. The thrill of creation. The buzz of excitement after leaving the studio is visceral. It highlights how artistry isn't just performance, it's the meticulous craft, editing, tweaking, that elevates raw talent. 4. Promise of more. Ending on only the beginning leaves the reader eager, suggesting this is a milestone in a larger journey. Possible expansion? If this were part of a longer piece, you could explore the tension before hearing the final mix. Was there self-doubt? How earlier failed attempts shaped this version. As sensory detail, e.g., the smell of the studio, the weight of the headphones, to deepen immersion. The dim glow of the monitor illuminated the small but well-equipped studio as I adjusted the microphone stand, my heart pounding with excitement. Today was the day, my first professional recording session. The sound engineer, Mark, gave me a thumbs up from behind the mixing console, his headphones resting around his neck. Ready when you are, he said, flashing a reassuring smile. I took a deep breath and slipped on my headphones, the soft hum of the studio silence filling my ears. The instrumental track began playing, and I closed my eyes, letting the music guide me. The verses flowed smoothly, but halfway through the chorus, I stumbled over a high note. Don't worry, we can punch in later, Mark said, pausing the recording. Want to try?